Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 46 entitled Discernment. So as usually we're gonna cover this very interesting topic and essential even through 4 axes. The first one, we will define concretely what is this topic, what it's about. Secondly, we will see the scope. The reason for being is so important to apply discernment, some techniques to reach discernment, and at the end we will see some advice. Well, what is discernment concretely? Etymologically speaking, discernere in Latin means, etymologically speaking, it means to separate, to distinguish. Okay? So actually, it is exactly a synonym of criticizing. Criticizing in Greek, krisis, means literally almost the same to sort out, to select. Okay, knowing that you can criticize positively and negatively. Okay, positively can be just a constructive criticize. It's possible as well. Okay, so let's say this is concretely discernment is the fact to take a certain distance to separate the facts, okay, and to reach a form of objectivity and not subjectivity in order at the end to achieve the truth. So obviously, you know, objectivity, can we consider that it is possible, feasible, lawyer? We necessarily have our personality, the way we have different masks, as we saw from the education and so on. Do they impact us regarding our judgments? Probably most of the time, yes. Okay, so now what's the definition concretely of the truth? Okay, I'm gonna quote a great Sufi, Rumi, who said the truth was a mirror in the hands of God. It fell and broke into pieces. Everybody took a piece of it and thought they had the truth. Okay, so very interesting approach, and it's a metaphor, but just to bounce on it and to echo with this concept, I commonly say absolute truth is the sum of relative truth. I repeat, absolute truth is the sum of the relative truth. What does it mean? I could add an additional elements just for you, even two, for you to be more precise. But you will see that if I do so, I wouldn't be so objective, and you're gonna understand why. The absolute truth, which is divine, okay, is the sum of human relative truth. Okay, I had what? Human, it's okay, but divine, it's already a kind of subjectivity. Why? Basically, because even if I consider it's really my philosophy, my perception, my intuition, and so on, that the truth, the absolute truth, doesn't exist. I mean, exists, but it's not from this world, this down-to-earth world. This is the big picture, the great all, God, let's say, the living one, who only can have the big picture. Human beings cannot. Okay, this is what implies. And by the way, it's referring to what the great Jewish philosopher, Portuguese, Dutch, Spinoza said, a finite body, human body, cannot understand and perceive infinity. Okay, you can just try to visualize the cosmos, thinking that it's infinite, even big distance and space-time, like I don't know, 14 billion of light years is impossible to visualize. And even if you consider something infinite, you cannot. Necessarily, you need for your brain, and we have been shaped like this, we have been made like this. We need a beginning, we need a end. So it's endless for you. You could never. It's an headache for you. You could never, let's say, visualize in a certain extent what infinity is. So it's the same concepts for truth. The truth, the absolute truth, is not from here. It is the mirror in the hands of God, in the sense that it is only when you are out of human condition. You are out of your personality, the different layers, the different masks shaped, let's say, through your education, your social dimension, your religion, or no religion, your culture, and so on and so forth. Your age, many things, many parameters, as we saw in the key 9. All right, so, but just to dig a little bit more into this concept of truth, and also for which we need a certain discernment, actually, what is truth concretely, and what's reality? I like to say it's a metaphor I use for almost 20 years, even more. The Rubik's Cube, you know, the game. This is a cube with 6 faces, okay, normal for a cube, but 6 different colors, okay. So if I show you, okay, I show it to you, okay, you're gonna say it's yellow, and I will say no, it's green, and someone here on this face will say it's no, it's blue, and another one here it's red, and so on. Actually, it's exactly this. This is multicolor, so there is not only a unique, it depends on the point of view. It depends, the reality depends on the point of view, on the regard, on the position, on the angle of perception, vision, and so on. All these elements intervene into the process of appreciating a reality. I say appreciating means appreciate means subjectivity. Okay, so this is fascinating, because actually life is much more complex than a basic cube. It's probably as a kaleidoscope, infinite kaleidoscope, many faces. So, in a certain extent, regarding what I said before, the absolute truth is the sum of the relative truth. It would mean that we ask the small piece of the broken mirror to everybody on the planet regarding the truth. We were doing a survey for one topic, for instance, asking their opinion and combining. It will be it would be some opposition, of course. But if we were, let's say, intending to find the truth, it would be a sum, and even that, if it would be a survey of the entire population, 8 billion people almost, it wouldn't work, because this truth, would be from this present time. Why I'm saying that is because the truth, what was true in the, let's say, 15th century, 16th century, during Inquisition and so on, is not the same truth than nowadays for certain topics. During Inquisition, the Christianity institution impeding the breakthrough, the scientists to talk about the fact that the planet was round and was not flat, and so on. Galileo, Copernic, and so on and so far. Okay, they have been obliged to renounce to their discoveries and so on. Okay, so who knows that what we think as real as the truth today in 2021, 22 will be the truth in the future? Probably not. There is probably many things that we will perceive differently. Okay, so there is an evolution. So we could consider, that's why I like the principle of the living, okay, the metaphor for God. It's implied this is a progressive action, okay, action and being. You understand this notion of there is an evolution, implying the fact that God would be experiencing himself, itself, ourselves through us individually. Okay, so it's impermanence. It's really interesting and very fascinating in that sense. All right, so just for you to analyze, and also just if I could go further, you know, the perception is regarding your senses and so on. Probably because I talk about that, the metaphor of the elephants, for which 5 blind people, they have to touch, okay, elephants. So one of them is touching just the body, and he says, oh, it's a wall. Another one, the leg, and it's for him it's a tree, and so on. Okay, the tail, and it becomes a whip, and so on. So all of them are wrong. Okay, their perception is wrong. Okay, so it means as long as they don't have the big picture, they don't touch everything, or at least they try to combine, because if they were combining the 5 different elements, maybe at the end they would adhere to, consensus, like, I don't know, hippopotamus or another animal and so on, and maybe after they would deduct it is an elephant. You understand my point? So that's why also it's interesting to combine, to exchange, to discuss, and so on. So the main reason, the main scope, the main reason of discernment is the fact to try to be the most objective possible. Secondly, to approach to a certain type of truth, absolute truth, which is impossible to touch. It's like in mathematics, it's like we call an exponential. Exponential means that you can flirt with a point, but you never reach it. Okay? Yeah, closer, 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 but you never reach it. Okay, so it's the same principle than absolute truth is. As long as you are here, down to earth, you will never have access to that. Or if you are experiencing an out-of-body experience, or astral travel, this kind of thing, or near-death experience, could be partially, punctually, but not in the absolute. I mean, not right now with the normal consciousness. For the moment, maybe there will be an evolution, but it would be too complex to find back the unity. This is the reason why, and I'm referring to the notion of consciousness, and also key 18 and key 15 regarding space-time. Our consciousness is the filter to avoid that we are overwhelmed through a deluge of information and so on. So we need to separate to exist. Please remember, etymologically speaking, to exist, existence means literally to separate. And why when we exist, when we embody this incarnation instead of another, we separate from the big picture, from the great all, whatever the name, God and so on, the absolute, we embody as a piece of the mirror, just to realize, to have a certain detachment, once again with the metaphor of God would be the painting, the painter, and the different characters. So how you see, if you have the nose in the painting, you need to step back. You need to take a certain distance and to have a certain separation. So the goal is especially that, reach the objectivity, flirt with a kind of truth, and last, obviously, to avoid obscurantism. Obscurantism means the darkness, the manipulation, and to reach a kind of lucidity. Lucidity, lux in Latin, means the light. Okay? It means that you are aware of what's happening, and you try to decipher, you try to select, to sort out, to criticize, the different elements, you balance, you analyze, and so on, with different techniques. Okay, so 5 very important points regarding this topic. It's very important to liberate, to free up from your patience, your, let's say, preconcept idea and the blinkers. Okay, it's very important. Discernment applies the contrary of that. Secondly, to keep in mind that ego, edge God out, we could say, the ego, its reason for being is the separation. To exist, it needs to separate from the rest, the great whole, the other people, the environment, and so on, the neighbor, and everything. Okay, so he will always outsource the responsibility and so on, but he likes to separate. Okay. Third, keep in mind that, because actually regarding this topic is discernment regarding a situation with your environment, as you say, your colleagues, your friends, your family, and so on, your couple, but it is also for news, information, and so on from TV, from internet, and so on. Okay, so on that point, there is a trade, there is a business of emotions. Okay, with up and down. Okay, most of the time with up and down. Okay, up, down, you see, and actually there is a business of the buzz, a quest of the buzz, to have, let's say, a teaser, you know, punchline, and so on and so forth, to attract. Sometimes you just click on the title, and it's absolutely not this, the article. Okay, it's just for you to push you to click and so on. So there is a quest of the buzz. I'm not saying that the journalists are not honest, but it's a matter of fact. They also, most of them, they have to fulfill some figures, to have a return on investment and so on. There is stock market for certain medias and so on. So it's a matter of fact, they need results and they need audience. And for that, they will stimulate and so on. There is also a battle with more and more influencer, citizen journalism, and so on. That's to say, those who are just in their room and so on. So the information go and through. I mean, they are transmitted very fast. So they try to compete with these elements as well. So there is a big change regarding this notion from the past, from 20 or 30 centuries, not century, years ago, and especially due to internet, reinforced with the social media, as a matter of fact. There is also another point, the fourth one, is the polarization. The polarization means polarity. The word is definitely separating, especially due to algorithm. Okay, you do a research on internet. After it's memorizing that, so then internet is, through the algorithm, suggests elements of your previous research. Okay, so it means that you don't evolve. You are maintained in the same pattern of thinking. Okay, and actually doesn't force you to enlarge your perspective and to think out of the box. Okay, as Einstein say, you cannot solve the problem with the same state of mind which created it. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that literally this is kind of dangerous. Okay, the notion of algorithm. That's why also some people are more reinforced, because if you have, you just have a question, you don't know, okay, and you're in between two opinions, and you start to do some research in favor of the topic, and you start to have some research, and then, oh, yeah, okay, it does make sense. And then you are oriented on other and so on. And then you say, oh, okay, so it's kind of common sense. A lot of people adhere to that. It does make sense for me. Okay, so I sign in a certain extent. I follow this idea. But in parallel of that, if you would have done exactly the same with the contrary, maybe you would have done exactly the same. That's why a lot of people keep the same friends, environment, and so on. You know, I really invite you to watch on Netflix The Social Dilemma, and also hacking something is about Facebook and so on. It's really well done, and they explain very well that, for instance, even for the U.S. Election, and it's true for every country, this year and this present time, the the differences between the two wings, okay, Republicans and Democrats, have never been so huge, in the sense that there is such a big gap, reinforcing even the hate. Okay, the hate, they really cannot tolerate anymore, more and more. Okay, and it's true not only for states, United States, it's true for many, many countries. Okay, so, and this is, inter alias, the consequences of the polarization algorithm, and also the excess that we can see on the social media. The fifth element is the fake news. This, for me, is really new. Is new. Let's say it exists in the past, okay. Fake news exists in the past, and once again, just one thing. I'm not saying that the mainstream are always right and there is no bullshit in it. Okay, I'm not saying all the mainstream media are completely fake and they have propaganda and so on. I didn't say that. Nothing is wrong or right. Nothing is black or white. There is shades. There is a rainbow. Okay, so mainstream, there's honest people. There are people. They are doing beautiful journalism and so on and so forth. Okay. But it's true, there is also some manipulation, some countries, some orientation, political orientation, and so on and so forth. Okay, in parallel of that, within conspiracy, it's not homogeneous neither. There is bullshit, and there is apparently things which could be true, and or they are true, or they have been true. I give you two examples of conspiracy. Ajax operation was in 50s, when there was a coup in Iran with Mossadegh. Mossadegh wanted to nationalize the petrol in Iran, to spread with the folk, the people, the population, and United States and Britain organized a coup for putting the Shah of Iran. Okay, the Shah of Iran, since 53 till 79, the other coup of Khomeini, is due to an intervention of the US politics. Okay, Barack Obama recognized it was true. Before, it was classified as conspiracy. Okay, so it has been proved it was true. Another example of conspiracy, which this one is completely fake news, and it's quite long time ago because it's more than 1 century. It's ends of 19th century with Nicholas II, the empire of the Tsar of Russia, for the protocol of the wise of Zion. Okay, it's a fake. It's official, it's history, it's a fake. Okay, what was that? It was, he asked, the Tsar asked to one of his ministers to write a fake document saying there was a Jewish organization which wanted to cover like octopus and cover the word and the dispatch and so on, and it was a complete fake information, and the consequences have been real. A lot of anti-Semitism, a lot of people went to kill some Jews and so on. It was in Russia, okay? So this has been, and then even Hitler took it back for himself in the 20 by 23 till when he wrote Mein Kampf and so on, 23 when he reached the power in 33 and then 36 and so on and so forth, and then we know the story, the history. If we don't know history, we are obliged to revive it. Okay, keep in mind, a word to the wise. So, fake news for me are a cancer. They are very dangerous because they destroyed the social fabric of this civilization. Okay, the fake news can be through different origins. Can be for trolls, but I can be a troll. I can be a teenager, a geek in my room with my hoodie, and I don't give a shit. I just want to have fun and to see people following my bullshit like goats, like sheep. Okay, it can be one. Is isolate, anonymous, and so on. It's not organized. It's not an organization, and so on. It could be. I mean, there are. There are also, let's say, official orientation trolls. Okay, it can be political movements within a country, and it's also could be sometimes it exists some trolls of states. What does it mean? It is some trolls, so hackers or people on internet and so on. They depend. I mean, they are linked to a country, and they go to another country and they establish fake news and so on and bullshit, and then they spread it. And it's not difficult if you watch the documentary I recommend. You give fake information to influencer. They spread it like a virus, a pandemic. Okay, a pandemic situation in few hours. Okay, and it's the same principle when someone is condemned. I mean, accused to be guilty. If someone tomorrow say, "Oh, he tried to rape me," and it's completely bullshit. Okay, news, breaking news, and so on. I'm not known, but if I was, if I were. You can imagine that if 100 people watch this news and they say, "Oh, the motherfucker! I knew it. I didn't feel. How can it can be? It pretend to be so nice and so on." You see, and then after, for example, 2 years, imagine, or 1 year even. Finally, I'm just innocent. Okay, and it's proven so on. You can be sure that maybe only 20% of the 100 people or 100% people will have the information, the fact I'm honest. Among that, half of them, they will doubt, probably, okay, like smoke gun and so on. So this is really, really dangerous, okay? And fake news and make the buzz of emotion as well. People like conflict, you know, is like in the movie, action and so on. I insist, is not a detail, it's something which could affect the society and the stability of our modern world. And even in this, social dilemma, and they are not anonymous people, they are the creators, the most of the leaders of the social medias. And one of them, when he say what could be the issue of that, I mean how it could evolve, and he say civil war. So it talk about states, but it can be in different countries. What happened in Myanmar, okay, against a minority is the fruits, I mean the consequences of the social media. Why? Because there was a rape, okay, it's a matter of fact, is a fact, but then it has been amplified, it has been spread over the social network, and people went to start to kill a lot of the members of this community, innocent people. Okay, so it's extremely, extremely dangerous for also certain population. Maybe they are not so ready for that. It's a matter of fact, and also in general, just the fake news destroy. You know, fake news. the problem is that, and it's not in states, I can see in different languages, I can see in many countries is exactly the same phenomenon, and especially even in spirituality. Spirituality, we are supposed to ascend, to rise our vibration and so on, but the vibration is so bad with the fake news, with conspiracy too much and so on, because it can be true, but the goal is just to unveil, okay, I see what I don't like, okay, I build what I want, that's it. If you are always angry, fuck the system and so on, you reduce your emotion, your energy and so on. So finally, you co-opt darkness, you create darkness, okay? So this is important to visualize this big problem, because, you know, it's like if we are adopting, and this is what's happening everywhere, we are adopting about all the institutions, doctors, scientists, politics, medias, and so on. Not all the media are completely are corrupt. Not all politics are corrupt. Not all the doctors, most of people, a majority of people are honest. They want the welfare, the goodness of people. Maybe a minority, they just want to make business, they want to enslave people, maybe, but apparently it's just a minority. So, you know, it's like, I'm gonna do a parallel. It's impossible to live like this. If you are jealous, and this is just not because of your wife or because of your husband, it's because you have trauma, a frustration since your childhood that you didn't clean, okay? So concretely, you have some darkness, and you project the darkness in the life, okay? So you interpret everything, a smile and so on. He is smiling at a man or woman, but you just focus on the woman, and you think that he's trying something, and actually maybe it's completely in your mind. But it's impossible to sleep properly, okay? If we are adopting all the time, saying life is a struggle, and we are reducing our vibration. And this is completely the contrary. This is the segmentation, the fragmentation, more and more and more. And we maintain the matrix of the duality, of the low energy and so on. And we are not in the process of transition towards a new era, which is 5D and so on, which is definitely not the competition, the struggle and so on, but which is the collaboration and harmony and so on, and opening and so on. I'm not saying opening necessarily. That's why I told you many times, I'm in favor of arousing a momentum of lucidity, optimism, pragmatism. Lucidity, okay, I'm not a dummy, okay, I'm not a Teletubby, everything is gentle, everything, let's do a hug of light all the time. No, because I know the violence of certain people, of the system, of the words and so on, certain capitalism and so on, okay? I see that. Spoiling the planet, the people, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I saw that, everybody saw that. It's not new, it's not recent, it's from decades before I arrived. It was before 70s, before, I mean, it's after Second World War, but the premise was the beginning of Industrial Revolution almost 170 years ago, in 19th century, mid-19th century. Okay, so but lucidity, okay, Maya, we open up our eyes regarding we realize the real eyes with real, we realize the real eyes with real eyes. Okay, first part, but the second part, okay, I know what I don't want, what I am not. Thank you for this experience. Same for myself. I know my personality. I clean up, I did a cleansing and so on. Okay, next step, what is it? Okay, optimism, rise your vibration, be positive in life, because there is still a lot of beautiful things, okay? Then pragmatism, action, what do we do concretely? What's be the change that you want to see in the world? I try to share with you different action we are doing here. We are handling and establishing a community independently, financially speaking, ecologically speaking, and so on and so forth. We are building 2.0 school, okay, alternative school. We are using a lot of alternative medicine, like sound healing, like which is more. But all what I share with you is that is a preventive, holistic approach of traditional medicine. Not to be sick, okay, to anticipate. So it's preventive, to have a good hygiene of life and so on. So what I try to tell you that I'm in favor is that lucidity, optimism, and pragmatism. And with this, and also solidarity and so on, small community network, small network, exchanging information through the world and so on, it's gonna change everything, okay? And not in a direct revolution and we kill everybody and there is the good and the bad people and so on. No, it's not that. I'm afraid about that, okay? I'm French, okay? I know the French Revolution. It has been, okay, it free up the people, the folk, the first in the world, okay? Maybe states in 76, a few years before, but it's more an independence, it's still different, okay? So, but it has been done in extreme conditions. 250, it's almost currently with the same population of France, it would be 500,000 people killed, not for, I mean, for no reason. It was like, you know, the witch battle. You only had land, you were killed, and because you were not, you know, this notion of revolution is the experience of most of the dictatorship. Recently, still, you had sunglasses, you are an intellectual, so necessarily you think you're in danger for authorism, okay, for a dictatorship, okay, so we kill you, we punch you, you're, and so on, okay, so I'm afraid about this word. It's still in my DNA, in my ancestors and so on. They were not from, they didn't have a blue blood on, they were not from the, no, they were peasant, but I'm just have compassion for these people and so on. So what is dangerous for fake news? First, media, we see most of the time negativity in all the news. The reality is half-half, so it's not objective, first of all. But the fake news, more seriously, we can change the messages. We can do out of the context, okay? This is dangerous. We can do montage. We can do orientation. We can do deep fake. Deep fake, what is it? We can arrange the image, the videos, the movies from the past or from now. We could see Hitler doing, receiving the Nobel Prize, the Peace Nobel Prize, sorry. So it could be completely crazy, okay? So we can do that, okay? So this is super dangerous because, for example, if we do deep fake for, I don't know, in Britain, we take the Prime Minister and he is a fake hacker, showed to the BBC, for instance, oh, the Indian community is dangerous for Britain. Let's kill them all. Okay, and some people will not digest. They will go on the street and they will kill some of them, like permission. Okay, like it's completely crazy. And then you have a civil war. It's super dangerous. So maybe it's a little bit extreme because people are not so stupid and probably they would not do it. But maybe, who knows? Some people would do. Okay, so Britain, but it could be in any country in Asia, in South America, in Africa, and so on. So it's really, really dangerous. You know, if I take examples with what I said, you know, I wanted to do a video with different fragments, okay, parts of all the videos I did for the moments, okay, and if I short and just cut, I can give you, let's say, 5 minutes of completely different messages like hate, okay? Why? Because second, if you take out something I said, I give you an example. If I say, open information, I'm not gonna say to you, commit suicide, okay? And if you just cut, commit suicide, wow, he wants that people commit suicide. No, I say completely the opposite. I said because in a context maybe I could have said, yeah, if you only watch the news and so on, okay, life is dangerous and so on. But then concretely, what do? We commit suicide. I'm not going to ask you to commit suicide. Of course not, you know. Or if I'm not saying I say that, but if I say we will know the absolute truth in the hereafter, but I'm not going to ask you to commit suicide, you know. So you cut, and out of the context, it's absolutely the opposite. Or if I say, if you say to yourself, we have to destroy everything, make the revolution, and punish all the motherfucker and so on. We saw what's happened in the French Revolution. My suggestion is an evolution, piece by piece, consciousness, collectively, in the forgiveness, and peacefully. Okay? But you just take the first part. We have to destroy everything. I just say, if you say to yourself, we have to destroy everything, you see? So if you cut like this, you can say, oh, this guy is completely crazy, he tried to, he convey very dangerous messages and so on. So, you know, it's true for, but it's true also for Holy Scripture, holy books, holy texts. If you just take it out from a context regarding a translation, regarding the sense, the meaning at this period of time and so on and so forth. Okay, I could take some of them, for instance. Yeah, it would be maybe too touchy, but anyway, there is a lot like this. By the way, it will be too touchy, you know, even that, you know, that's, if it's touchy, it's because there is a problem. I'm afraid about interpretation. If you watch my videos, maybe you will think I'm more in favor of a culture than another because I quote some Jewish philosophy and so on. I quote some Muslim. So some of you will think I'm I'm more in favor of Jewish culture, community, and thereby maybe Zionist. Then some people will think that I'm more in favor of Muslim because I quote a lot of Hadith or Rumi, Sufi, and so on. Okay. Then some of you will think I'm always quoting Bible, so I'm evangelist or pro-Christian and so on and so forth. And some of you will think I'm more pro-Hindu because I'm always referring to Upanishad, Vedanta, and so on and so forth. So if you just short, you will say, oh, it's more like this because you want I'm like this. Or you're against me or you're against a trend, so you say, he's more in favor of that, I don't like him, and so on. So actually I can be everything or the opposite side. And it's true and untrue. I just try to be factual. I just have some cultural reference when I say, or I could be attacked for being against Christianity because I say that in the past, the Inquisition and so on, it was a darkness period, and or for instance, it has been used 4th century. This is history. Religion has been used as for states, for Roman Empire, to homogenize the empire, and the text from 45 Gospels, we reach 4 of them. Okay, so it's a synthesis, so it's already, and there is some modification indeed. Okay, it's a matter of fact, it's facts. Okay, it's history. Okay, it's not a blasphemy, it's history. Okay, so it's really, really, really important that, okay, you know, even if you, with the deep fake, if you want to cut and for instance, I did gyms of movement of exercise and so on, or maybe I did that, or maybe you can just make me this, that. So, and then we will see, he did Heil Hitler, even now. I did Hi Hitler, just to tell you I never did that. Okay, but you shorten. Oh, this guy wants we suicide. He wants that we go for revolution. We kill them all. He say Hi Hitler is a neo-Nazi, or you see what I mean? So you can it's really, really dangerous, okay? And you can make me, with the all angles of position, you can make me do other, when I did the video, you know, with the exercise, okay? So there is a moment where I do with the back and so on, and on the knee, like, sorry, on doggy style, okay? You can put me in a porn movie, okay? It's possible to do defect. Sounds funny, it's not funny. If it would happen to me, I would not be so happy, to be honest. But it exists, you know, with your selfie and so on. It can be a disaster for family, for teenagers and so on. It's happened. There is people, they face, because they put on all the social media, the selfie and so on. You can just add, even for me, a piece of, I don't know, sperm like this is like I did, you know, it's dangerous. So you can destroy the reputation of someone. You can completely destroy the life of a family, a teenager, and so on. And it's happened. It's happened. We really have to think about that. It's really, really, we need a citizen movement for that. We need a regulation for that. And the builders, the creators of the social media, they say that they don't have any, it's like a Frankenstein, and they cannot manage it. It's crazy, guys, right? It's like if car industry, a brand, was launching some cars saying, okay, half of them they can brake, okay, they have the capacity to reduce the speed, some of them don't. Okay, so it's full of accidents and so on, but at least half of you die, okay, but half of you can go fast, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? It's the same for social media, actually. So this is really serious case. And also because of the propaganda, the fact we can spread ideas, hate, anger, the fact that we convey this idea that other people, other culture, they are bad and so on. And then war. Who's the great winner? War industry and the devil. The devil, the Satan. Satan means literally, diabolus means to separate. Satan, same, means to separate, to fragments. Okay, so was the great leader and winner, war industry, and also let's say Satan, darkness. Is really happy to feed with our bad emotion, our anger, and so on. And even if at the beginning you are hypersensitive, you are a very positive person, you are in the process of spirituality, because of certain facts or fake news, you want to kill all of them, but then you affect the whole process of the global worldwide awakening. You know, Adolf Hitler said, repeats a lie 10 times, it remains a lie. Repeat it 10,000 of times, it becomes truth. Okay, so let's talk about the advice. First of all, question everything. Okay, as I like to say, you can find it in Sage Passage Utopia, one of the book you can download from my website. It's for free, or synthesis of synthesis. Never swallow any information without digesting it. Always question everything, even this advice. Just follow the path of the heart, allied with the reason, which vibrates, and find an echo within you. Very important to question everything. Okay, you know, I remember in the past in France there was when I was 15 years old, teenager, there was very interesting show. It was analyzing news. But so there was a show, and they were analyzing the news and how the montage was done and so on. And I was saying to myself at this period already, it's very dangerous because they're talking about they become the truth. So we should analyze also their show to see how they are. And we should analyze the analyzer and so on. We should all analyze each other. You understand? This is extremely important. You know, Stalin said, I don't trust anybody, even myself. Well, it is extreme. He was a psychopath, and let's say this is extreme. You become completely paranoid and so on. It's dangerous, this. Second advice, so question everything, first one. Second one is to take time, not to be in immediate reaction, in first reaction, okay? Not in emotion. Take time to digest an information and sleep on it. Analyze afterwards, okay? Don't spread immediately on the social media if you didn't check and so on. Third, take a step back. Overview, big picture, detachment, okay? Physical, emotional, okay? Important. Analyze, fourth. Analyze an article or an information, a documentary, or, I don't know, a video. Analytically speaking, emotionally speaking, intuitively speaking, what does it mean? To analytically means to analyze the facts, okay, the data, the information, the credibility, okay, it should be factual. The credibility, it is recognized article, this is oriented, and so on. This is really important. Secondly, emotionally, what do you feel? Okay, it is linked to your trauma, it is linked to your past, it is because you're implied in it, they are touching to a certain industry and you're a member of this industry, it is your, you're affected because of that, your interest and so on, because it's not fair, the notion of justice and so on. Try to think emotionally and then intuitively, okay, what's your guidance say to you, you know? Some politics in different countries in the world, known and not known, they're supposed to be a light holder. Okay, are you sure? Okay, and then it's spread like this. And then when you watch the person, you see the person, you feel, and you say, oh, I just feel super bad energy with this person. Okay, like anger and so on. How come it can be such a so-called light holder? So, refer to your heart, to your intuition. You know, the little prince said something like, it is only with your heart that you can see correctly. Essential is not visible for the eyes. So this is linked to intuition in general. 5, check the sources, where it comes from. Okay, there is a protocol, you know, for science, for in general. You have to respect, medicine is the same. As a professor also. As a professor, it's not only teaching, okay, it's for MBA, PhD, and so on. You systematically, when you need to write papers, it has been to be accepted with institution and so on. You give your sources at the end, because you cannot create like this from scratch. Oh, I feel it and so on. I think no, you have to demonstrate to with a certain rigorness. And that's it, it's normal. So where does it come from? Where this information is come from? Okay, because it's not because it's on the alternative website that if I write a bullshit article, okay, fake news, voluntarily, and then I'm quite known. Someone is read it. Seems interesting, and normally I know this guy I can really, okay, and then on a second website, third, fourth, then you do some research. I see it on this one, this, and then 10 of them. Oh, it's the truth. No, it's not because I'm writing bullshit. I'm not recognized. I'm not a journalist, okay? So even what I'm saying now, all what I say in all my videos, this is the notion. I'm not influencer because I don't have the aura of them, and I never want. And if one day I reach a certain amount of people, I will always keep like this, question all what I say. You know, in some books I say voluntarily I inject some mistakes like this, you question everything. Otherwise I would be a dictator. I don't want you you adhere to all my idea, my opinions, and so on. No, it's not that. I just want people open up their mind, open up their self, and they follow their own guidance and their philosophy, their strategy, and so on. So even me could be dangerous. Okay, my advice could be dangerous. I mean, in the sense that if people don't question. So influencer, yes, they have a power. They have a power. It's, for me, dangerous. Okay, so always questioning. Fact checking. There is some website, and I'm pretty sure in the future there will be more and more. It's really important to check the information. Try to change a little bit the source of information, different political wings, orientation, different maybe origins, mainstreams, alternative, but be careful about alternative one is really important. Different countries as well. Okay, the point of view is different. So by mixing that, normally, if you digest well, you should be closer to, in quote mark, the truth, which is not absolute as we saw at the beginning. I think it's really important also for, in general, for media, for politics, but also in general for discernment, for interview or for whatever, is empathy. Empathy, once again, is the capacity to penetrate the integrated system of someone, the complexion of someone, the complexity of someone, the history of someone, the personality of someone, the character of someone, the mood of someone, the origin of someone, and so on, the personality, the different masks, education, culture, blah, 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 blah. Okay, referring to the notion of ego, key, mind. So this is, for me, extremely important as well. 9 is try to have different types of friends, or contacts, like different orientation is good. It's enriching you, different culture also. The fact, for example, different sensitivities. Personally, half of my friends are spiritual, half of them they are not. And it's always interesting also. People like artists, scientists, other whatever the cooperation, but different types. If you are in a polarization, if you friends are only in this mood, following this mainstream, I mean this mainstream on this conspiracy and so on, you don't enrich your perception, you don't enlarge your perspective, your angles of vision. And for me, diversity is richness. And even some people say bullshit is always interesting to just to have a kind of confrontation and exchange and so on. If we don't want necessarily, personally notes, copy-paste, I don't want clones of my thinking and so on. I like the, not the battle, the exchange of perception and so on. Then very important to do an introspection regarding a topic. You analyze in the absolute your bias, okay? Your bias, personal cognitive bias. There is a lot of bias, emotional, affective bias, sensitive bias, neuro-linguistic bias, linguistic bias. So there is many things, but to give you some of them, emotional, but it can be your past, your trauma, your education, your culture. This is linked to personality, of course. Sensitive. Okay, your senses, you see properly, you don't see properly. You remember the metaphor of the elephant and the blind people, okay? Neuro-linguistic, you know, there is variation of your brains and the waves, like if you are tired, if you are nervous, if you are stressed, if you are a bit dizzy, if you are stoned, if you are drunk, if you just drink, if you have an altered consciousness, if you do meditation and so on, your perception will be different regarding a topic. Sometimes you drink too much coffee, it's you are tired, you are like this, stress and so on, and you want to kill everybody, and you don't perceive, you have not the good discernment for a topic, and then when you sleep, you take a certain distance, step back. The day after, you perceive differently the same facts. Okay, Neuro-linguistic, slangs, the way of talking, shout, and so on, all the linked to the communication we will see in another key. You know, Erwin Schrödinger, great scientist, father of the quantum mechanics, say the multiplicity is unreal, it's just an appearance. There is only one spirit. In real, there are only aspect of this spirit. Subject and object are only one. We cannot say that the barrier, the frontier, which separate them is the result of a recent experience in the scientists and physics background. This frontier doesn't exist, okay? So for him, if I summarize, there is only one spirit, one consciousness, and then the fragments are just an illusion. Knowing that Schrödinger has been taught a lot with the mysticism in India, with Vedanta, Upanishad, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what he say concretely is exactly what we saw in the key 19 regarding the consciousness and our individual consciousness, a fragment of it, a filter of it regarding the notion of gigantic kaleidoscope of life. Well, as an opening, we could also see, and we will see a key for that, empathy and, of course, communication, non-violent communication. Well, this is only one key for you to shape your master key, to open up the door of consciousness that you want, that you feel. And as you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to home and to the dome. Thank you for your attention and see you very soon.